to another Making Sense of It with me, Emma Kenny.
And me, Peter Smith.
The delectable Peter Smith.
The delectable Emma Kenny.
The delightful Emma Kenny.
The delightful. The unbelievable. The wonderful. Distinguished, eh?
Decadent.
And...
Dilapidated.
Desirable.
Dilapidated.
I wouldn't say dilapidated.
Do you know what?
Delicious.
I think the world is turning on its axis. I am one of those people who understands fully that you cannot rely on anything.
Yep.
I know this. It's something that I preach to my clients. It's something I talk about on TV. Security is a myth. And people who believe that they are secure are absolutely in line for some pretty big shocks in life. So I understand this. And yet, even I am surprised about the amount of things that have gone wrong recently in my life. Like, I'm literally surprised by the fact that even though I preach this my entire life, I'm still very surprised because even on my scale of insecurity...
Now you say that, but it's quite a lot of this is down to other people.
That's the whole point about security, you absolute buffoon. You can't place your trust in other people in that way because they might let you down, or people might let you down, or systems might let you down, or businesses might let you down. Something will happen, and then if you realise that you've built all of your world around the belief that that's secure, then you're screwed. And what I'm saying is I know that, I preach that, I live with that belief system, and yet, past few weeks, been a bit of a surprise in spite of that.
I know, we're going to battle through it though.
We're going to battle through it. I'm not in a bad place.
No, I know that.
I'm in a good place mentally. I'm just saying that even when you are ready to predict that things can go wrong, and I see things happening, I don't know about anybody else listening to this. In fact, write some comments, leave me some comments. And a lot of women listening to this, sorry to be gender specific, you'll get what I mean. We get it called the sixth sense kind of thing, that second sense about something.
Oh, you're really good at that.
I do. I'm really good at it. So basically, since I was a kid, I am not psychic. Can I just put it out there? This is not some kind of thing where I'm now about to start doing some readings for people and
I knew you were going to
making
say
a bit
that.
of money on the side. But I've always had a sixth sense as a child, female intuition, shall we call it. And I can see things happening before they happen. I just can see the intonations and the synchronizations and the way that people are around things or the way it feels. Just I'll wake up and I'll have that feeling. And it bloody well happens. And you know, because I've predicted everything recently.
Absolutely.
I literally say it. And then I'm like, just stop saying things, Emma. Maybe it's you saying it that's causing all of this cataclysmic mess.
Well, if it all goes wrong, we can go and do a season in Whitby every year, and you can sit down near where the whelks are and the cockles and mussels.
I'm
on
vegetarian.
The front. No, I'm not selling them, just where they are, and sit in one of those little fortune teller huts.
Oh, that'd be great. I could do that.
Yeah.
I just do the Barnum effect. That's the way of making people believe that you're psychic when you're not psychic.
Yeah.
Basically telling people the opposites in one sentence.
Yeah,
so,
you've done that with
Darren Brown.
Darren Brown, yeah.
That's right. If you want to see me on Darren Brown, Tricks of the Mind, you can look me up. I'm there being a fake psychic. And let me tell you, a lot of the people that I saw, they thought I was a really good psychic, just to say that.
Go and have a look, actually. It's pretty...
I do cold reading in the Barnum effect. That's what I do. So cold reading is where I just kind of sense something about the way that somebody is. Because like when you work in therapy quite a lot, you meet very, very fortunately, hundreds and hundreds of people who you work with over a period of time. And so you start to have, not a stereotype, because I don't think you can ever have a stereotype for a human being, but you certainly start to get pen portraits in your head about the type of person they are, just the kind of way that they act, the things that they say, the way that their body moves. You kind of have not a stereotype, but some kind of portrait, some outline of what they might have potentially. So I'll do that in cold reading. But then the Barnum effect is the one that everybody falls for because everyone wants to hear it. Classic example, you sit with somebody and you'll go, I can tell that you're quite a charismatic person. Well, who doesn't want to be charismatic for a start? And you're one of those individuals that when you walk into a room, you really care about the way that everybody feels in there. You really want to engage with people and show people in your best light. You're almost like a classic extrovert. But the truth is, you're a deeply introverted human at the same time. You're somebody who has a real depth and a real sense of self and quietness that people don't often see. You just tell them that, both of them, everybody fits into it, don't they?
That's clever. It's the way you do it, though.
It's not clever.
No, it's the way you tell them.
How people do that. Like, I will literally watch people. Honestly, I don't even care who's listening to this who's a fan of Sally Morgan. I don't care, right? I get it. She's massively wealthy. She's massively successful. And at the end of the day, she's made a packet and people believe in her. I watch her on stage and I literally want to scream at people. Are you believing this? You know, I'm sensing somebody. Yeah, I can hear. Oh, it's a B. Is it a B? Anybody got somebody down with a B? You know, like, well, probably about 38% of the room knows
Barbara.
somebody who died with a B.
Betty.
Yeah.
Horace.
And then she does the voices. Oh, I've got a little girl here. It's ridiculous. It drives me insane.
Almost Sarah Millican-esque.
I can't do Sarah Millican.
Yes, you can. Just do my
No,
mother.
I just try to be your mum. When I'm trying to be your mum, I sound like Sarah Millican.
You know, there
That's
you go.
it.
But they also look alike, don't they? Sarah Millican and
Your mum,
no, the
Sally Morgan.
yeah, don't they?
No.
Or I think of someone else.
Oh, no. Sarah Millican's way, way younger.
All right.
She seems like a nice lady, Sarah Millican.
Yeah.
She's not an exploitative individual like said other,
Yeah.
who I'm sure is a nice person who believes her own stuff, but at the end of the day,
Who's
I don't buy it.
Who's the other one?
Do you know what? Can I just put it out there, right? The only time I'm ever going to believe a medium is if I walk into a room and they go, all right, Emma, do you know what? Grandad bloody Bolton sat next to me now. Do you remember that poem you used to do? My mother told me that I never
Don't say
should
it.
go with the
Don't say
gypsies
it.
down in the wood, etc., etc. I'm not going to go to somewhere who might have watched this, and if that's the case, all power to them. I want to know.
Well, it'll be weird, won't it, if
specifics.
somebody all of a sudden you walk in and go, Grandad's Bolton sat next to me, yeah.
Yeah.
Went down a gypsy, going to wood.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they wouldn't know past that second sentence if I'd
Yeah,
forgotten.
that's what they'll say. They'll say,
But the
etc.,
point
etc.
is this: unless they can do that, right? I want to know everything. I want them to tell me about my mum, my dad. I want them to tell me about the things that I learned from him when I was a little
Yeah,
kid.
but it's too
I want
hard
him
to
to
do
tell
that.
me why he lied about killing Germans with a bayonet.
It's too hard to do that because sometimes the spirits are not talking to me.
Do you know what I mean? That's too convenient.
Yeah, I know.
That's too convenient.
So we'll make them talk to you. Tell them you'll give them some money.
You're not a medium, mate. You're not a medium.
Yeah,
Unless
no.
they're giving you
Derek
specifics.
Akora's my favourite.
Again, what an absolute
Hey! Oh! That's what he
drives
does.
me mad.
That's what he does. Hang on, I can feel them. They're coming.
Yeah, just ridiculous. And yet these people
Yeah,
have made it on TV and have made it in their careers.
I know.
It's insane.
They do prey on vulnerable people, I think.
I
People
mean,
have lost people and stuff.
everybody wants to be told everything's going to be all right. Like everybody, you go to a medium, you'd have more respect for them, wouldn't you, if they walked in? They were like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
seriously,
I've heard about you.
seriously."
I've heard about you and what
Yeah.
you get up to and what you've done.
That's right.
Yeah.
You want it. You want to stop
Yeah.
it.
Sat with Elvis.
Don't go out on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere near Ford.
Your granddad sat with Elvis. Ooh. Why
know what I mean?
why don't these people, like, if they're mediums and that, why don't they sort of get in touch with some
Do you know why I think they're
famous
called
people?
mediums?
Because they're just medium.
Massively average.
Yeah.
Yeah, just average.
Average
I'm just
people.
really average at
Average,
this.
yeah.
I'm just having a
No,
punt.
it'd be like, I'm not just a medium. I'm an exclusive. I'm top end because I speak to celebrities who are dead. You know, like
Oh, there's
Elvis.
loads of those.
Oh, you know,
There's loads of you not seen the ones that close their eyes and draw pictures, and the line there's like a picture, and it just looks like a scribble, and they're like, oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's a picture of a Native American.
Yeah.
There you go, Native American. I went to Reiki because obviously I trained as a Reiki practitioner and a Reiki master back in the day.
Does that
So
mean you can
I'm qualified.
like monkey?
I can't do that.
You fly in a
I
cloud?
don't get a cloud. Cloud doesn't come.
You're a Reiki
Anybody who
master.
hasn't seen monkey magic, then
Google it.
Google it. There is a man with a headband who goes
Pigsy.
like that. Anyway, what was I saying then? What
What were you saying then? You were talking about you're a Reiki master.
Oh, well done. You were active listening. I was testing you
was.
then, and you did really well.
Was I?
Anyway, is it because you're a medium?
No,
is it because you
it's 'cause I'm
psychic?
top end.
It's because you've actually just heard it.
Yeah.
So I did this Reiki practitioner, and during that one before I did my master, at the end of it, they give you your spirits.
Oh, and what was yours?
Shara.
Shara the what?
Just Shara.
Just Shara.
That was her name. Her name was revealed. Shara. Shara
Ooh.
is my spirit guide. But what really annoyed me, I'm really quite a competitive person. I don't try to be competitive. It's not something that I seek to be. As you know, like in the media, loads of people get jobs over me. I'm just like, whatever. I just walk off a duck's back, yeah. But in the race against the mums at primary school when my kids were little, I was serious, you know what I mean? I wanted to win that, and I did win it. It's as simple as that. So I have a competitive side to my nature. And there was a guy training with us during this practitioner certificate, and he annoyed me all the way through. He was the only lad there. Oh, and the guy training us, you could tell absolutely just this guy. He wanted this guy in there. I think there was a little bit of untoward behaviour potentially in the back of his mind about what he'd have liked to have done with this young man. Again, my vindictive bitter side for why he got better than me. But unlike the rest of us, and there was nothing that stood out about this guy. I'm just going to say that. Yeah. Personality, nothing. Just that he was a man. He had a penis. At the end, he got 6. He got 6 spirit guides. And I was sitting there and I wanted to argue. And actually, there's a bit of me that wanted to have an argument.
Me shot Bendigo, Monacan and who hurt you, boo?
No, I wanted to argue about something that wasn't there. I literally wanted to have an argument, like going, why has he got 6?
Why did he get 6?
Why has he got 6? Because he was his favourite. He was his favourite.
Why did he get 6? Wouldn't there be a conflict of interest there? What would they have a board meeting every time they need to like sort of figure out?
Exactly.
You know, I want to speak to my spirit guides.
Yeah.
Guides? Yeah, I've got 6 of them.
Yeah.
How the heck do you like speak to them
that
without
was it
having
for
a
me.
full discussion, sit down around a table, cups of tea, people bringing pieces of paper in and out and writing notes on, you know what I mean?
6. He got 6. And I got 1.
Oh, I'd have been up in arms.
I probably wanted to kick off. And do you know what it did? It soured my taste against Reiki.
Yeah, but
I literally thought, you know what, this isn't real.
Well, but he's more
I do
fooling.
like Reiki,
More
by
fooling,
the way.
yeah, more fooling because he's the one who has to feed and water them like every day since then. And put
I
them
bet
in
he didn't even remember the bloody names
Yeah,
at
what
the
were
end
they?
of
Do
it.
you
Who
remember
remembers 6? No, I just remember mine, Shara.
Neil, Mike,
thought it sounded
Ian,
like shart.
Yeah, sharting.
You know. Anyway, me and Shara, we've never really connected. I don't know who she is. She certainly hasn't done me any favours lately.
Yes,
Shara.
So, come on, Shara. If
Wherever
you're kicking
you
about,
are.
where are you, Shara? Where are you? Oh, she's here. Come on in, Shara. Oh, hello. And I get into a dog.
Do you know what I mean? So anyway, it's one more than you've got, so...
It's not.
You don't know.
I've got.
You want to go and see him? He'd probably give you 15.
I've got. Yeah, probably. I've got my spirit guide's called Hula Hoop. I just made that up, but it'd be great if you had a spirit guide called Hula Hoop.
Would it be Hawaiian?
Could be, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you haven't, I have. Somebody else has got 6, that's all. He's the guy himself probably had about 933. He probably had a whole canteen full of them.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Anyway, all I'm saying is Shara hasn't been around in the last few weeks where everything has gone sideways. Do you know what, though? Again, I stick to this every time. I don't feel any different mentally. I feel fine.
Well, that's good. It means that you're just numb of any stress.
I'm not sure that I'm not in a coma somewhere and this is just all imagined.
No, that's what I said about me. I sometimes think I'm in like some sort of weird Vanilla Sky thing going on. I've had a massive accident. I've gone to a place where
Met
I said...
a mad woman who's trying to kill you.
And I'm just like, I'm, in a alternate reality, which leads back to, this is what life could be.
You know what you need?
My head seeing too.
Sally Morgan.
Sally Morgan. I do. I don't need a medium. I need a top ender. I need a...
You need Derek Morgan.
Yeah.
The amalgamation of two.
So medium, you've got medium. What's underneath medium? What's above medium?
Rare. Well done.
Isn't it? So we need a well done. Yeah.
You'd want one who is well done.
I want a well done. Yeah, well done. Bravo. My gosh. Deary me. Been to a funeral today.
We've been to a funeral today. Been to a funeral of a guy called John Mcgough.
John Mcgough.
I didn't know John, so I'm not going to pretend that I do, but I feel like I know him because Pete has spoken very fondly of him for very many years, and I've also listened to a lot of his music, and
Absolutely.
You also have music that you've made with John.
Absolutely. I just think it's, I know it's like not so much a morbid discussion.
It's not morbid,
but I think
it's
that
beautiful today.
I think Johnny Mcgough needs a mention on our podcast because John Mcgough was the songwriter and musician that basically helped James Arthur when James Arthur was literally a struggling musician himself. He helped build the James Arthur band and he wrote songs for him and he gave him a place to sleep and he helped him out and helped launch his career. And obviously, we all know James Arthur with his
Journey South.
He used to do his stuff for Journey South. He has this X Factor link, actually, John Mcgough. And it was his funeral today. But I think I'd like to. It
was a celebration.
More of a celebration of life. Yeah. I mean, people always say that, but this was.
It couldn't fit in the crematorium.
It couldn't fit in the crematorium.
And that was the private one, wasn't it? Where we were meant to be just with people who were close, and we couldn't fit in.
He needs to mention this podcast because of his ability to touch people's lives, and we all get them in our life. But a man called John Mcgough, you can Google him and have a look. He plays a saxophone. He actually very good friends with Carl Cox, the DJ, as well.
Yeah, what was interesting about that service was, one, it was full of his music. So he kind of was there even though he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of conversations and talk during that service when his best friend was talking about the fact that in his life he hadn't had much.
Yeah.
But he'd give anything away, and that wealth to Johnny was just about living and breathing love and doing what he was passionate about, which was music. And the jokes about the fact that he'd be an A&E and it'd be there's a 51-year-old guy who's just fell off his skateboard because he was still really youthful, and everybody had a story about him in that way.
Yeah.
But then going down to Saltburn Seafront where everybody had gathered, and there were just hundreds of people, and it kind of got me thinking. I turned around to a few people at the actual service and I just said, I swear to God, when I die, there'll be like 7 people there. It really makes you question, because Johnny Mcgough obviously was somebody from an outsider looking in. I have nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know some of your friends and they were there, but I have a very exterior experience with that particular funeral.
Yeah.
But what blew my mind was just the fact that everybody had the same story about him, which was just like he was a really kind person. He just loved everything about life, and he just had a real life force, and he was just really creative. Even when he broke his back and his neck when he was 21 in that accident, he didn't let it get him down. He just learnt the saxophone and then became this incredibly talented musician. It's amazing.
It is.
But I just worry, because I look at that and I think I'm such a kind of small life person. You know, it's strange because when people are listening to this, I think that lots of people who stumble across this podcast, you won't even have a clue what me or Pete does. You know, it won't be of any interest to you, nor should it really. But I work a lot of the time in the media, either on TV or I write for magazines. I'm a columnist for Closer magazine. I also, you know, do quite a lot of work behind the scenes. And so to all intents and purposes, my social life should be thriving because of the industry that I work in. But the truth is, I just have such a quiet, small life, don't I? I just don't do any of those things that you'd imagine. I don't go out and meet people. It's only this year, we've talked about it previously, but it's only this year that I've really realised that I have so few friends. Like, I wrote the other day about the fact that we often fail to notice the significance of friends until they're no longer with us in one way or another, because you always take for granted the people that you've got in your life. And I was writing that and somebody wrote, yeah, it's strange that you forget that when you look back, there was always that last goodbye that you never knew was the last goodbye. You'd see it to someone and you never see them again.
I know.
Not through death, just through life moving on. And it's kind
that,
of his funeral was like, no, this is a guy who stayed connected and like has remained connected. And it just makes me go, oh my God, Emma, you need to work on your social skills and social life.
One thing I'm taking away from that celebration today is like to keep connected with the people that you know, even if it is just online. Chat to them, keep connected, organise
Yeah, because
stuff.
you know everybody was there. Everybody knew you. Everyone was shaking your hand. Everyone was asking you how you were. Like, I swear, I've lived here my whole life and I know less people than that.
It's just a close community up there, but it's because I haven't been there for a long time. But it's just, you never, you know, everybody used to get on with everybody. You know, it was, you know, and
John
Mcgough, I think that with him passing, has really, really sort of brought a lot of. I think just from his death, I think it's gonna. If there's been any beef or anybody not getting on with anybody or anything like that, not just I mean, up there, you know, I think it's going to have brought a lot of people together, a lot
Yeah.
more, a community of people who are there just to celebrate, you know, and put everything aside and just...
But it puts things in perspective. So, like, things that are going on in my life at the moment, there's a hell of a lot of, I suppose, conflict. I don't mean in relationships, I mean just conflict with different elements and areas of life. And you kind of listen to somebody like John and what he's saying about the way he feels through his friends. I mean, how he visits you in that funeral service through his friends is saying, you know, this is fleeting, this is a momentary experience. And they were saying that they felt like there was some kind of prelude of understanding to his position, because in his songs he writes a great deal about kind of moving forward and going to heaven and his relationship with God, his relationship with his wife. And yeah, it was really significant, and it kind of makes you go, right, have that perspective. You know, what I'm going through at this moment in time will not last forever, and it's remembering that. And there's another thing that I've been thinking about the last few nights, because you sleep better than I sleep. Not that I don't sleep well, I sleep fine. But I definitely have a period at night before I go to bed, unless I've had a drink of alcohol, that will tend to subdue me, and I don't necessarily think then. But obviously you can't do that every night, or you'd be a functional alcoholic. But I will go to bed and I'll kind of contemplate this stuff. And I was thinking the other night, because the dog's walking around with a big piece of plastic, by the way, if anybody hears interference. Do you want to get it off him? Because otherwise he's just going to be sitting with it on his nose.
You can have that in a bit.
Don't even know what that is, but it looks like it could suffocate him if he got it stuck there.
He's been playing with it for days.
So
pieces of plastic.
I was sitting there the other night and I was thinking about vengeance. I was thinking of the subject of vengeance, because obviously one of the things that I preach is peace and kindness and compassion. Yeah. And genuinely that's the way I operate. But because of somebody's actions recently, I've been put in an incredibly challenging position through lies and through deceits and probably through some criminal activities, shall we say. And whilst I can't talk about that now, and I'm sure I will talk about that in the future, it's something I'm going to be very open about. That person has placed me in some pretty difficult and challenging circumstances. And so there is a part of me in my head at night, and I'll be like, I'm going to get in touch with the Daily Mail. I'm going to get in touch with the Sun. You know, these are people that I can call, and I could have the story out tomorrow, the day after, and it would ruin this person. It would ruin them. And it's sitting there and manifesting that preach that I always do to others, which is, no good will come of vengeance, no good will come of it.
Yeah, it won't.
But knowing, and it's an interesting one, knowing that you have the power to absolutely destroy somebody, but not taking that opportunity. It's such a strange position to be in, because part of me is just like, no.
Because
you
deserve
this, but I just know that on a karma level, I'm not prepared to deal with it.
It's not in your nature to be that person. You know,
I don't know whether it's not in my nature, because I think that vengeance is part of everybody's nature. Like, so
yeah, but it's the control that you've got to be able to control that.
It's more like if somebody hurt my children, then I'd kill them. Yeah, and I have no doubt, and I think any
torture,
mother would
never
feel
die,
that way.
Just be, you know.
But when it comes down to the corporate world and business, I kind of say, you know what, let the due diligence of the courts and HMRC and all the processes that exist, let them take care of that individual. Right. But nonetheless, it's an interesting experience to be lay in bed thinking, I have that power. And that individual who's walking a very, very fine line right now is something that I could absolutely explode. Yeah. But I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to do it. But it challenges every little bit of you. And I was thinking, like, so many people must feel that, you know, and we've talked about it before, you know, like one of the things that you've got past is forgiveness. You've really kind of forgiven certain people in your life that you feel abused your trust. And likewise, they felt you abused their trust. And actually what solidified at the end of it was none of us really know what happened. Yeah. We just know that it hurt more not having each other in our worlds than...
Yeah, absolutely.
Letting go of it is what creates the freedom.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I think just maybe, I don't know if it is an age thing, it's a bit more, and you get a bit wiser and you realise, you know, as death creeps closer to you, or you see death all around you, you know, we don't know what happens next. We don't know what happens next. There's all sorts of theories and things. We've chatted about that. On one hand, it's exciting to know that there is something, because if you believe there is something, then it is going to be exciting, but you've got this life yet left to live, and there's no point in walking around with a lump in your stomach or in your heart or in your throat, just of what I can only call as like a ball of anger or a ball of stress. What's the point in that when everybody's, obviously you get nasty people out there. Just don't be anywhere near them. Don't think about anything like that. But the people that you want to have in your life, and you do know that there was memories there and stuff.
And the good exceeds the bad.
Yeah, and the good exceeds the bad. Yeah,
and massively exceeds the bad.
Yeah, make sure that. And as you get older, there is no bad. It's,
I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? That's when you're younger, that conflict in resentment and bitterness is like really easy to hold because there's less in your life to kind of acknowledge than when you're older, when you've got really big responsibilities and you're like, was I really worried about that? But I was reading that quote the other day and it just said that being bitter and angry is so useless that it's like wishing to kill the person that you are angry with, but taking the poisonous pill yourself.
Yeah.
And it's true. Your feelings inside have got no reference on their experience. The way you feel does not impact on their experience. They are fine without your feelings because they don't know them. So all of that hostility and bitterness and anger, it's within you. And that's the other thing. It's like for me at the moment, I'm going through all of this other stuff that I will completely talk about in the future, but I can't talk about right now. And it's just keeping it to the side of my reality and just kind of going, you know what, let it be, just let it be, let the way things play out, it's the way it has to go, and just don't allow myself to personalize it and feel triggered in that way, because it's really a challenge in life when people affect what you consider your status quo, because your status quo is also the safety of your children. So I think any mum and dad who's listening to this, you'll totally understand it. If somebody compromises your position, whatever that position is, whether it's your personal safety, whether it's emotional stability, whether it's economic being, whether it's where you live, they are challenging you because your kids rely on you. Therefore, everybody who challenges you is challenging your status quo and therefore affecting your kids. And that makes you want to react.
Yeah, of course. That reaction over your kid's safety or that's I think that's built into you, isn't it? That, that's not just something. That's a primordial sort of feeling, you know what I mean? A reaction.
Hardwired for it.
Yeah, but I think when it comes to relationships with people, you can sort of control that.
Absolutely.
Control them,
Absolutely.
And, like the controlling the sort of vindictiveness inside you.
Definitely.
Is definitely something which takes time, unless you're born an old soul. And you've got that within you.
I think I have quite a really balanced, calm approach in life, but I think that doesn't mean that you don't have that. I think there's a mismatch of people understanding what a calm person is. It's not that you don't feel all of those feelings, it's just that you don't use it with purpose to be destructive because it actually works the opposite way. So you do have it there, but you just turn the volume down.
Well, that's that whole cartoon thing, isn't it? Having good and evil on your shoulder.
Yeah, it is.
It's the voices in your head, and it's the sort of like, oh, I could, or like, well, but then the voice of reason,
kill them. No,
the voice of reason saying what, and it's the people that let the one.
Well, volumes in solution-focused therapy, we believe in volumizing. So a lot of the work that I do with clients is not to concentrate on the problems, it's to explore the solutions. It's not to concentrate on what happens normally, it's to find the exceptions. And one of the things that we do is to find something positive and then use it to volumize. So we volumize that, make that louder. And I think that that's probably why I find it more easy or a little bit more simple to deal with my feelings. It's not that they don't occur. It's not that I don't need to turn the volume down sometimes, because sometimes I do. Sometimes I need to turn the volume down because I'm setting people on fire with my eyes in my head. You know what I mean? I do it. I just don't do it verbally. I just try to allow myself that feeling for a moment and then let it go.
I like
do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
It's a funny one as well, because people recently have been quoting a lot in the press about Love Island. So there's a programme in the UK called Love Island, and I've been asked to comment it on quite a lot. Everybody does when you work in psychology. It's a really popular show, and I'm sure that if you're listening from the UK, you can't avoid but know about it because it's everywhere. But there's a girl in there all the time who goes around going, I'm loyal, I'm honest, I'm loyal. And as I've got older, that really annoys me. When somebody walks around going, I'm honest, and you're thinking, mate, isn't that just normal?
Yeah.
I'm honest. Like
honest.
it's something to give somebody. I'm honest. It's like, well, I'm just assuming that you're honest because otherwise that would be weird. Or I'm loyal. You know, that's the cat trying to get in the door, by the way. We've got 2 Abyssinians and they're very clever. We have to lock the kitchen door because they can open the door with their paws.
Yeah, they are very clever. It's like they've almost got keys.
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah, honesty and loyalty, 2 traits that really annoy me.
Yeah, there's anything you can take away from this podcast. Honesty and loyalty should just be something that humans are.
It?
Yeah. And that to never, ever, ever take your shoes off while doing a podcast because a chihuahua will just eat your feet all the way through it.
He's already had my sandal.
Has he?
My sandal's gone.
Yeah, he's been biting my feet all the way through. If you've been seeing me shifting around and moving about, it's because I've got a hairy chihuahua trying to eat my toes.
If you hear a thud in a minute, it'll be the dog being kicked up at the table. No, it won't. That wouldn't happen. Because we started doing family vlogs.
Oh, yes.
To anybody who hasn't seen our attempts at a first family vlog, we've started doing family vlogs. We're not sure how these are going to carry on. We're not sure they are going to carry on because we don't actually know what we're doing. No. But nonetheless, we've done a family vlog. We're going to try and do another family vlog.
Well, I've just been walking around with the camera. We've got the camera there and we just turn it on.
We're fancying ourselves as cooking and everything. We're doing like vegetarian cooking snippets in there as well. I believe it's cheeseburgers this week. Vegetarian cheeseburgers.
Vegetarian cheeseburgers, absolutely.
Absolutely. But we're going everywhere. We've introduced the family and everything. But that's by the by. But should you want to, please do watch our video. It will be somewhere down there probably. Anyway.
It will be, yeah.
It will be just
down
there.
It'll be down
there. Down there, family vlogs. But I was looking up family vlogs and I came across Chris Ingham. Chris Ingham. And it got me thinking.
Yeah.
So, the Ingham family, very, very successful, very, very popular, over 1 million subscribers, hailed by Zoella as like the great family. So, obviously, if Zoella endorses you, you're going to succeed, aren't you?
Yeah.
And, discovered that he's apparently been texting or sexting 16-year-old girls. Now, they're 16, so whether I like it or not, that makes it legal.
Yeah.
So they've carried on vlogging, right? They've not addressed it. But more importantly, I am like, what is she doing?
I don't know.
What is she doing? Like, bear in mind, we can't say that it's illegal. He's not, a paedophile. I think it's very, very odd that he's texting 16-year-old girls as a grown man with children who are, I think they've got a teenager. One of the shared kids is a teenager. But the point is that she's not addressed it and she's carrying on like it's normal.
Yeah.
Whatever's happened, he has definitely been calling 16-year-old girls and texting them.
Because they have his number.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, not just wow. I mean, I'm 43 years old. How old is he? Well, I don't know the fella.
40
you know
going
what I mean?
on 40.
I don't know the fella, but I mean...
He's not going on 35.
People are saying that he's made it up, blah, 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 blah. From what I've seen...
The defence that his fans are going like, oh, it's not your fault, blah, blah, blah.
That's blindness. From what I've seen is that, to doctor what's being said, they have his phone number.
I know. What's he doing giving his phone number out to girls?
Yeah,
that age?
it's just not, he's...
Insane.
Yeah, there's something not right there. And as a 43-year-old man, I have a son who's 15 and a son who's 13. And it's like their mates coming around and then you saying to their mates, listen, right, I don't care whether they're 16, right? My personal point of view is, right, it's you're borderline of being a child molester. I'm sorry, but 16 years old, up to 20 years old, even 25-year-olds I've met have still got that immature sort of streak in them girls. But 16 is...
Well, the other day we were at
He's not 16 or 17 years old, which is like, all right, you know what I mean?
We were at a cafe the other day and it was freaked me out.
Yeah, well, we were at a cafe.
We were at this cafe. We go there occasionally. Been having a bit of a mental week, so we went in to get a cappuccino. And we sat down, and I tell you now, there was a kid, and she must have just left school doing a GCSE. She must have, because one, she was off, and secondly, she looked like an absolute child, didn't she?
She looked
younger than my niece who's just
She looked like a 16-year-old
She looked
kid.
16, if that, didn't she? And she was sat with this guy who we assumed was her father, and an older father, actually.
Yeah, he looked older than me.
And then she went and sat next to him, and he started stroking her leg, and it was clear that they were actually intimately involved. And there was a part of me that wanted to just go, mate, that's not okay. That is not okay. On her part, it is. Girls and lads, they look at older people. They think they're attractive.
Listen, on a maturity level,
exactly
on a brain input level, right? They're at school. They've just left school. School act the way. I think about it, right? The way you act at school, you might have a body of a young woman, all right, but the brain is so far away from being a woman. And I'm sorry, but how the fuck could you get off on that? That to me, and I don't care whether people listen who are fans about that. I'm sorry, but I have to make a point of saying
are people who listen are not like that.
Well, you know what I mean.
They're amazing.
Whether we do family vlogs or not,
listeners.
you know what I mean. I just want to say that it is bang out of order that he's even giving his phone number to these fans.
Exactly.
Or whatever they are.
It freaks us out, doesn't it? It freaks us out. And it was a it was an odd experience because we felt like we couldn't say anything, but at the same time, we felt bad when we left because we hadn't said anything.
But they haven't tweeted ever since it started, but they've been vlogging, and I think that something, whether it's true or not,
he
or whatever,
be in it.
something
he should not be in those
Something
vlogs.
should be said.
Yeah, I agree.
They should hit it head on instead of all this because
No, but the thing is they can't. Because that will put that in the public eye and there's a right to reply. They don't want her to have a right to reply or those other girls to have a right to reply. But I was thinking just about role models and exploitation of power. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? When you have a position of authority, be it a role model in the media or actually in the police
Weinstein, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
You know,
The exploitation of that power, there should be laws about that. There should be things where you can clearly see that an individual has been exploited because of somebody's position and been made to feel that they... For example, apparently they had to sign a £250,000 privacy contract that meant that they couldn't talk about it. And he was kind of threatening this girl, saying, you've already been told that, I can sue you for £250,000. And you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, wow. And these are people who have put themselves in the public eye. Yeah. And it kind of goes line in line with what you expect from people like that because they're going to put themselves in a position of power because then that gives them access so that they can abuse it.
Well, you know what rings true with me with it is that you see... And like for a 16-year-old girl to doctor the way that this man was speaking, I know, that's what these fans are saying, aren't they?
It's not been doctored.
And you can see that it's a grown man talking to a young girl.
Loyalty. Yeah, what is wrong? What is wrong with people's brains? Because if I get 2 brains in a scan, I'm going to tell you now, right? Those who don't feel that they're clever and those who feel that they're super clever, actually, there won't be that much difference between the brains. It's what you do with it. It's like you train it. But to have blind loyalty, it's offensive. You are actually, to be honest, you actually join the exploiter. Yeah. You are on their
complicit
camp.
I mean,
it's awful.
I don't understand what is... I mean, they did something with the Zoella as well. They were there at her house the other day.
Well, she should
did a vlog.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If she knows something that nobody else knows, I'm sorry, but and if they try that, they're 16 years old anyway. It's still, I'm sorry, it's borderline. And as a family, because we don't claim ourselves to be we're going to do family vlogs. You know what I mean? But there's going to be things in those vlogs which aren't like, all la-di-da and hairy and fairy and that, you know what I mean? All like sort of Disney, is it?
You've just got to stop everyone shouting AIDS all the time.
Yeah, we've got to stop everyone shouting AIDS all the time, which is,
It's a really hard work. The kid's embedded.
But, it's like they've sold themselves as being some form of like, little kids to teenagers to, like Disney.
Well, they should just cut him out of it. Just she should do it without him. But I was just thinking about the nature of family vlogging and like how important it is when you're acting in that way. Like we would never do the vlogs in the same way that we do these. This is our kind of chat. I always think that people listening to this, I kind of feel like I know them because a lot of them get in touch with us and it's just utterly lovely when they get in touch with us because I always feel like,
but doing a family-ish vlog.
It's a different kind of thing. Like, don't get me wrong, there'll be loads of mishaps and anybody who's watching them, yes, I do need a new kitchen and I definitely need a new oven, but that's another story. And one of the things that like, I think we filmed the other night was us in the hot tub, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about how amazing it is that even when we look at our boys at 15 and 13, they'll still sit in that hot tub and they'll play games with us, like the alphabet game. And I was just thinking yesterday that in a world where it's so pressured and young people have got so many different roles to think about and so many responsibilities, I was thinking, what is it as a parent, the role that is most important for me, bar obviously providing them a safe place and food. And I realised that it's keeping them children. I was like sitting there last night when we were doing that for the second night running and we were just going through, I went to the supermarket and bought an apple, a banana, and one, let me tell you, we've got really good memories. Yeah. I'm the best at that game. But I am. I didn't need any clues you guys did. But anyway, the point is, it's keeping them young, isn't it? And that's why I think we feel so angry when we're hearing about adults who are exploiting children, who are engaging with kids a few months older than my eldest son and coercing them into relationships they're neither ready for nor capable of enduring in a way that will make them safe, actually it will do damage to them. And yet we're sitting in that hot tub as responsible, respectful, loving, compassionate parents, and we're helping our children to remain young. We're helping them to remain children, as in don't feel responsible for the world, don't feel that you have to do everything that adults do yet. Be safe, be secure as a child. It's really played on my mind.
It returns the favour as well, because they keep us young, so
they do keep us young. Although every time I meet somebody now who I used to go to school with or whatever, I'll look at them and I'll be thinking, God, you look like you're getting on a bit. And then I realise that they're looking at me thinking, bloody hell, you're getting on a bit.
When we saw into the funeral today, and I saw, must have seen, up to 100 people.
Lovely lot of people, though. What a great group of people.
Some of them have got kids there, 20. I'm like, hang on, but you don't look like we're all, we're all the same era, we're all the same age, and all of us are the same. We haven't changed in our persona, and
that picture will be amazing. Pete had this picture taken with a group of guys that he'd grown up with, really, and obviously there'll have to be some kind of comparison somewhere where you were all 25 years younger. But me and Pete didn't let ourselves down. We did go around, and every baby that we were introduced to, we offered to buy.
We offered to buy it, yeah.
We offered to buy them.
Yeah.
We do it with all seriousness. No one's taken us up on it yet, but somebody did say they'd rent their baby for £40 a day to us. Pete said we'll take 6 weeks.
Yeah, Robbie Muller, if you're listening to this, if the offer still stands, we'll come and rent your baby off you, for a few years, if that's all right, Robbie.
Just whilst they're cheap, because babies are quite cheap and toddlers are quite cheap. You can make everything. When they get to teenagers, send them back, because then they get quite expensive.
Yeah. He's funny, a lad called Robbie.
Oh, can I just say, before you carry on? I want a disclaimer today. Yes, I am wearing exactly the same dress as last week when I did it, but I've been to a funeral and I don't have many dresses that I can wear to funerals that are bright. We were asked to go in bright colours.
Yeah, no black wearing funeral.
Yeah.
And it was good to see everybody, and sunshine days. The sun shined, and it was a day.
Let's put a link to one of his songs.
I'll
put some gorgeous
I'll put some links down to
a posthumous celebration.
Some stuff with James Arthur as well, which is James Arthur has obviously put his condolences out there, and he's been up and met and seen all the family and stuff. So it's I think I'll have to dedicate this podcast to him, actually.
Yeah, dedicate this podcast to Johnny McGough.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I don't know whether it's just us, or maybe you guys can comment beneath and let us know that whether your world's turned on its axis recently. I don't know whether it's just a shift in time, a shift in place, that everybody is feeling this. Because I spoke to my agent before.
Shift in energy.
When we were kind of talking to each other, he was saying, oh my God, this year. And it's like I said, I'm not negative at all. I'm completely positive about my life and what I've got. Because the only things that matter to me, my family and the people who are around me that I love, and they're just exactly the same as ever and as strong as ever. But I do feel like this is a shared experience. I've spoken to a lot of people recently. I don't mean in a moany way, just in a very practical, experiential way.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of saying the same stuff.
Oh, look at today. Some people today that I know, like Carl, Big Carl, and some people they've changed. They've had to move away from a different country, and have got there's deaths, and maybe it's an energy shift for the next lot of energy to take its journey. I don't know.
Speaking of energy, I will tell you that the light is so bright in this room that I do know that if you're watching this, as opposed to listening to it, you will see that I look almost ethereal.
Yeah.
I am so brightened by this light that basically my face has dissolved into the wall behind me.
I was just thinking that as I look at the other monitor.
Yeah.
I was thinking the sunshine has come on now.
I just want to note that this is it. This is what I looked like 28 years ago when I was a child, when my skin hadn't got a line on it. In fact, somebody wrote the other day about me and Kerry Danes, the woman that I work on a show with, who's a forensic psychologist. Not Kerry Nixon, my very good friend Kerry Nixon, Kerry Danes. And they were suggesting about us both having Botox as well. I was thinking, flipping heck, mate. Right now, my expressions are so heavy. If you think I've got Botox right now, you are going to a bad Botox specialist, because I've literally got the biggest lines that you could see. But thanks, because presumably that means that I must be looking okay in that respect.
You do look okay. You look amazing. You look brilliant.
I don't look brilliant.
You do. Yeah, but the sunshine has come out. Must have been because we were talking about Johnny.
I know. Maybe it's Johnny Mcgough's special sunshine day.
Yeah.
But, it is one of those things, isn't it? You kind of think, when you die, what do you really want? You want legacy. You want people to remember you with kindness. You want people to reflect on a life fully lived.
Yeah.
I remember reading a book many, many years ago, and just to say it's not a book for the faint-hearted, I'll be completely honest, it's quite a upsetting book, but it is also very uplifting. It's called Hannah's Gift, and it's about a little girl who died of cancer when she was a child. But what's significantly beautiful about it is that her mother writes at the very beginning, Hannah, a life fully lived. Yeah. And basically what she was saying was, people can have 95 years on this earth and they leave little legacy and they don't appreciate the joy of being, the joy of living. And for her, Hannah was somebody who took life by both hands and just took everything from each day and just like bled everything from life in such a way that was really, really poignant. And when you read that particular book, you kind of have that feeling synergetic with somebody like Johnny, that even though they didn't have a great deal of wealth, their legacy lives on through every song, every piece of poetry, every individual whose life he touched, everybody's career that he helped, all the people who spent time with him surfing or skating or making music. Just all of that compassion and kindness that was brought together today just was so significant. Yeah. And I think to be able to die and to leave that so that whenever you're thought of in this world is thought of with a smile. Yes. I mean, man, that is something incredible.
The thing that was said today about there's two bank accounts in life, and there was one where there's all the money in the world, when Johnny didn't have anything in that bank, and the other where it was all the love in the world and all the kindness in the world, and in that bank he was a billionaire.
Yeah, whereas other people are bankrupt.
Yeah, and all these millionaires and billionaires, they've got all this money, all this wealth in that bank, and then the other, they have nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that was just poignant for sort of someone to say, really. It was for Johnny,
I've been to too many people's funerals recently, too many young people's funerals, it's shocking, but it's life.
We're all on borrowed time.
We are on borrowed time. I think that's why when I'm talking about all the turmoil that's going on in my life at the moment and our lives at the moment, obviously it interjects with your life as well, you just can't let it impact on your acknowledgement of gratitude. And I always say that to everybody, that's the thing, like every single day when I wake up, I'm just incredibly grateful for what I have. And like you said about Johnny, that's certainly where my bank matters, the bank of love and life, and it's far better than any wealth you could give me.
Yeah, it's certainly given me food for thought, that today.
It has. And even though this means right now that we're not treating ourselves or going out for those coffees that we'd usually go for and stuff, it's also a real reminder that you have to accept that, what really counts is the love that you've got in your home and your heart, and nothing else has any value, really. You can always make an instant coffee at home.
That's true, isn't it?
Well, thanks for joining us again in what could be described as Emma's cathartic session, exploring her own feelings about her life and it all being about her.
Yes, while I just sit here and say yes and nod my head like someone who hasn't been able to wake up today.
Much love. See you next week. Keep the faith. Stay happy. Join us again. Lots of love. Bye.